Hey, what is going on, SMT Nation? It's your boy, the SMT. We got to talk about this Dish and T-Mobile story. I mean, it's getting out of hand. So this is a little bit different than what we've been seeing in the news lately. But I mean, this is going to be a story that's going to continue through the rest of this year until the FCC makes a move on it. So the situation here is essentially T-Mobile's back at it again. All right, in my perception, how I see it, it's very anti-competitive of T-Mobile. It's showing their anti-competitive tendencies. It's basically a Eugene Sweaty Armpits special. All right, so the ongoing Sprint CDMA network drama, that shutdown situation, that's still going on. So this is something totally separate. It's just another layer to the mess. So Dish owns and operates licenses in the 12 gigahertz frequency range. Now, it's a little bit different than cellular because in the case of satellite, it's one-way transmission, the way it's broadcasted. In cellular, it's two-way, so it's a little bit different there. But this would be huge for Dish and future 5G networking and their capacity if they were able to transition the 12 gigahertz spectrum to their 5G network. So you think about it, it's basically a super low frequency millimeter wave, right? So it's not super high frequency like the N260, which is 39 gigahertz, the N261, which is 28 gigahertz. So it brings it a lot further down, so it gives it better propagation, probably some indoor application as well, right? T-Mobile is actually pushing and urging the FCC to strip Dish of this spectrum access so that way it can be auctioned publicly to commercial networks. So currently, 12 gigahertz is a satellite use case. Starlink, DirecTV, Dish are using it. Starlink doesn't want 12 gigahertz to go cellular, obviously. They want to use it on their side. It takes from their use case and gives it to a completely separate industry in a way, which is actually their competition when it comes to fixed wireless access. So AT&T, obviously, they don't want to see it go to cellular either. They've got the DirecTV, side of things. I know that TPG is a, big piece of their ownership group in that now, but they're obviously going to, campaign against it. And, they're not doing fixed wireless access, so it's not really going to help them to lose it. It would strengthen Verizon Wireless. It would strengthen T-Mobile. And, and Dish would probably get in on it too, but they'd have to auction for it. So Eugene, a.k.a. Sweaty Armpits, he's back at it again, kind of reinforcing the concept of Charlie Ergen, calling him the Grinch. Charlie's no better. Obviously, Charlie's a Spectrum squatter. He hasn't done anything with Spectrum. He hasn't really built out his network. It's been a lot of teeth pulling and coercing and all of this. But again, it's another situation where essentially this is just proof that, T-Mobile is trying to bury Dish. They don't want him to even take off from the ground, and it's just, I see them as being very similar. Charlie Ergen, Mike Sievert, they're not so different. So in my perception, and you guys can chime in at any point in the video, go ahead and let me know your thoughts. The anti-competitive nature of the new T-Mobile, they're willing to compete, but not in the true sense. They're not really wanting to compete with Dish. They'll compete on lowball pricing. They'll compete by offering free lines. They'll compete by giving people, tax and fees included. But they're not really truly willing to compete when it comes to infrastructure, spectrum licensing, and stuff like that. So the story out of Mike Dano's, lightreading.com, I do want to throw in a little bit about the 12 gigahertz and why I feel it's so important. You got 500 megahertz of it. It is contiguous, which means it's super good for licensing. You would get nationwide coverage if you so choose to. It offers huge flexibility in how it can be arranged, auctioned, applied, whatever. Dish, I could see a way that the FCC could work it out, that Dish would get to keep like 100 or 200 megahertz of it, or something like that, and then allow a large portion of it to become auctioned, publicly for commercial networking, or something like that. And who knows, maybe we could all see DirecTV, they get in there too. They get to keep a little bit for themselves as well as Starlink. I mean, there's so many different ways you can chop it up and break it out. And I don't know, maybe there's a band that does kind of need to be distributed evenly amongst all carriers, right? So this is very similar to what we see in other countries where, I think it's in India, for example. I think they get their spectrum evenly distributed and allocated amongst companies. and it creates parity in a way. And I'm all about capitalism, and I'm all about whoever's willing to spend more and do more deserves more, but for the sake of creating a legitimate carrier at a Dish, being that they were the incumbent, maybe there's something that can be given to them to offer them a slight edge just to get them going, because keep in mind, they're starting from nothing, and all their assets have been in satellite. So I think they do deserve something just to get started. I'm not saying give Charlie Ergen a handout. He definitely doesn't deserve it. But I think the company deserves a chance to get going for the sake of the consumers, right? It's not really about Charlie. It's not really about Dish. It's more so about consumers getting a viable fourth option to compete. So, how they could break up the proceeds, how they could break up the licensing and the blocks and how it gets auctioned. There's so many different things there. But I will say that Jessica Rosenworcel, the acting commissioner, head commissioner of the FCC, was opposed to the T-Mobile and Sprint merger and did fear that T-Mobile was going to do everything that it could to squash Dish as a competitor. She's not looking too wrong right now. I got to give her a prop. She did kind of call it. And maybe I'm off. Maybe you agree or disagree. But I think the Eugene, the sweaty armpits, I think that ugly monster is rearing its ugly head again, the anti-competitive nature of the new T-Mobile. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Go ahead and sound off. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Again, if you agree, disagree, no problem. I, graciously accept all discourse and commentary. You're entitled to your opinion. Please go ahead. No problem. Just remain respectful and, courteous in the discourse in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace. Thank you for taking this opportunity to watch the SMT YouTube channel. If you appreciated this video, give it a like and a share to all your favorite social media platforms. Thank you in advance for that. Also, check out some of the links in the description box. We have the SMT Patreon page. We also have the Twitter handle at SneedTech. And do check out the audio-only podcast available on all the major podcast platforms. And if you are new, have not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and activate the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload from the SMT. We'll catch you on the next video. Peace.